Hello. We're about 1 minute away from starting our open house, and I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you for coming. Okay, we have 1 o'clock. So my name is Hortie. I'm with Remax Crest Realty. I've been there for coming up on 14 years. And I'd like to welcome you and show you around this beautiful property. So first of all, I'd like to just set your expectations. I'm going to do this in 3 parts. First, we're going to have a walk around the property, and I'm going to point out some features that you may not have noticed when you did the virtual walkthrough. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about what it means to buy into a co-op building. And then finally, I will talk about the building itself. The unit is gorgeous, but the building has things that I would like to talk about as well. So first of all, let me turn the camera around and let's have a look at this place. All right. So as you can see, it's fully renovated. And when I say fully renovated, I mean stripped to the studs, new wiring, new flooring, new everything, new plumbing, fabulous kitchen. Let's just take a closer look. So we have an LG French door style freezer on the bottom, fridge, all soft closed cabinetry, dishwasher. This is in fact a induction range, so it does not get hot to the touch. It only cooks the food in pots. Beautiful backsplash, built-in microwave and oven, and a huge amount of pantry space. Now here we have a live edge built-in desk for a kind of a home office, which takes advantage of the view. You can't really see it today, but on either side of that heritage house, you get mountain views, and you can actually see the ski hill on Grouse. Now, moving into the living room, as you can see, we have floating shelves on either side of a floor-to-ceiling brick fireplace. The fireplace is electric, and it can be made to show flame or give off heat or both. Enormous, over 20 feet long living area, into which the owners have incorporated their dining area. And as you can see, it comes with blinds as well. And these are kind of nice. I'll show you what I like about them. You can have them go from the top down or the bottom up, or virtually disappear altogether. As you can see, they're magnetized at the top and they virtually disappear. Okay, so this is listed as a 2-bedroom apartment, and that is because there is no acceptable way to list a 1+ enormous den. Quite often, if you try to put in the word den, you'll get confused with other properties where the den is in fact an in-suite storage unit. In this case, the owner converted a 2-bedroom apartment into a 1+ enormous den that can be a 2nd bedroom. So as you can see, the barn door closes it off entirely. And that is a fold-out couch. Now the room is still 11 by 9, so if you ever wanted to convert it back to a bedroom, it's a simple case of adding an armoire. Now here's one of the things I love about this place. Finding a 2-bedroom, 2 full bathroom co-op is virtually impossible. They're as rare as hen's teeth. But in this case, the owner has added a 2nd bathroom, and I want you to pay attention to where it is. This is the foyer of the apartment. As you can see, we're ready to go out in the pandemic. But here's the other end of the foyer. There's the door to the unit. And the second full bath is located here, which is very nice, far away from the guest areas, and gives anyone using it a sense of privacy and being detached from, say, the dining area. As you can see, it's a wall-mounted toilet. These are heated tile floors, and you have a dual flush built into the wall. Full shower and vanity. So moving back into the main area, this is the door to the master suite. And through it, you find a walk-through closet. It's quite large, a lot of hanging space, a lot of shelf storage. And then finally you come into the master. Has the same type of blinds. You can have them go from the top down or from the bottom up or disappear almost entirely. And as you can see, there's another barn door, this one mirrored, which leads into the ensuite. And the ensuite is kind of jaw-dropping. It also has heated tile floors, an enormous shower, big enough for two, and built-in shelving. And yeah, there's an area for everything. Nice double vanity, huge mirror. It's a beautiful job they've done here. And of course, a barn door to close it. Now, another thing you very rarely find in co-ops is in-suite laundry. But here you have it. And of course, you still have access to the building laundry, which is free. Okay, let's go back out here and talk for a moment about what it is to live and buy in a co-op. So, years ago, when before the Condominium Act, before the Strata Property Act, people were looking for ways that they could own an apartment. And one of the ways they came up with was something called co-op. Now, when you talk about co-ops like this, which is an equity co-op, the co-op stands for company operated rather than cooperative. And a company operated building works like this. A company is formed and they build a building. They buy the land, they build a building. Then, instead of selling the units within the building, the company retains ownership and sells shares in itself. And so you, as the purchaser, buy shares in the company that owns the building. And your shares come with a permanent lease on one of the units in the building. So it's a slightly different way of arranging things. Once you live in a co-op, the difference between it and living in a strata is negligible. It's the exact same experience. But there are some key differences. So to begin with, the most important difference is the banks don't like having the extra risk. They determined that, well, if I repossess these shares, all I have is shares in a company, and I don't know how well the company is going to be run. And so the bank said, okay, we'll give you a mortgage on this property, on these shares you're buying, but you have to have more skin in the game. And so in order to ameliorate their risk, they put in a requirement that people put 35% down. And the thing about it is, I can see some of your questions going, and I will get to them, but I just want to get through some of these points, and then I'll get to your questions. So the bank has insisted that people who buy shares in a co-op have to put down 35%. What does this do? Well, it immediately shrinks the buying pool because not everyone has 35% of a large chunk of money. most people are buying with 5%, 10% down. So that shrinks the buying pool, and as we all know, when the buying pool shrinks, the price goes down. So the fact that you need a lot of money to get into this place helps keep the price low. So like so many things in life, it takes money to save money. If you have a big chunk of money, you can get something cheaper. It's an unfortunate fact of our existence. But if you have the money, it's kind of a fortunate. So where do you save money here? Well, first of all, you save it on the purchase price for the reasons I just outlined. Second of all, you save it on the tax. There is no empty homes tax. Of course, there's no rentals here, which is a big reason why, but you don't even have to fill out the forms every year. That's done by the building treasurer. There is no property transfer tax. That's because this property does not change hands at the land title office. Only the shares change hands, and that doesn't affect the land title office, so no property transfer tax. That's a savings of close to $15,000 on the purchase of this unit. There's also no foreign buyers tax, which is a nice benefit. Another thing that's different about co-ops is they can have rules that strata properties can't. For example, this building, you must be 21 years old to live here. You couldn't do that in a strata. It would be against human rights. But in a company-owned building, they can have whatever rules they want. Incidentally, this building allows pets. A lot of cooperatives don't. So those are some of the reasons that the property is a great value. It also tends to have lower property taxes. In order to make this claim, I did a search earlier to find out if my claim was true. And sure enough, when I searched for properties between 1,000 and 1,200 square feet in Fairview, they all had higher property taxes than this unit. And of course, they were all charging a lot more as well, because this unit in a strata building would likely be in the neighborhood of $1 million. Let me just see if I can. Sean next door, and I am about to go forage in the wilderness, but we will be showing this to others who may want to see it. Oh, thank you, Sean. All right, so what else do I want to tell you about cooperatives? So I think maybe now would be a good time to talk about the building. So I have done now, this is my 7th deal in this building. The building was built they broke ground in 1948, which is why it's called the Prince Charles Apartments Limited, because that's also the year that Prince Charles was born. And this building was built for wealthy people. In fact, downstairs there's a tradesman's entrance, and there's a tradesman's staircase as well. Speaking of staircase, there is no elevator in this building, and this unit only has rented parking. I'm going to show you the parking stall that you could take over the rent of, and it's right there where the silver car is. And it costs $60 a month for the owner to rent that spot. However, the maintenance fee, which includes heat in this unit, is $353. So even if you add the parking spot onto that, you're still paying much less than a comparable sized strata maintenance fee. And it is, as I said, includes heat. So because I've done so many deals in this building, I have been on many property inspections in this building. And I can tell you that every property inspector that has ever inspected it has been extremely impressed with the size of the timbers used, with the thickness of the concrete, which in 1950 was an expensive material, by the way that the building has held together. 2 years ago, they had the roof replaced, and the roofing company informed the owners here that it was a very unusual roof in that it had its own set of joists separate from the ceilings of the building. So it's like a double ceiling, and it was replaced 2 years ago. Now, the fact that there's no underground parking, and there's no underground parking lot. There are 6 garages along the side of the building, but they're at surface level. So what does this do? Well, the most important thing it does is it prevents the knock at the door when the strata is coming to tell you that they have to replace the membrane around the parking garage or fix the cracks in the parking garage. Similarly, there is no elevator here. Now, what does that do? Well, for a lot of the people who live here, it has kept them young. You may have to walk up 2 flights of stairs, but you'll never get the knock at the door when the strata is telling you the elevator needs repair. So you save money every time you turn around here, except, of course, for the 35% down. I'm going to try and read this. Oh, no, it's still the same one. Okay, Martin. People have been wondering about this unit. Well, call me. It looks awesome. Yeah, it is awesome. Okay, so does anyone have any further questions before I show you the rest of the building? Just go ahead and type them in. All right, let's go. I'm sure I'll think of more things to tell you as we go through the building, but I do want to show you the rest of the building. So let's take one last look around here. So I've just walked in the front door. I'm in the foyer. Place to hang my coats. Second bathroom. Kitchen, home office. Beautiful 20-foot long living room. 9 by 11 second bedroom / den. And master suite. Okay, let's go for a walk. Take a mask so that I don't worry the neighbors. All new hardware. This is the tradesman's staircase. It's now just used as a second staircase. Upstairs, there is only one penthouse, and it doesn't overlap the unit that I'm showing except a tiny bit over the master suite. So you basically have no one living above you. So this tour is now for the real diehards, people that really want to know about the building. Okay, there's your mailboxes. At the end of this hall, there is a unit that the building owns and rents out. And that money goes into their contingency. This is another thing that the property inspectors are always thrilled about. It has fairly new double boilers. The heat is hot water radiant, so if there is ever a boiler go down, they have a spare. I'm going to take you outside here. So this unit does not have a balcony, but in the back, although this building appears to be a rectangle, it is in fact a U. And in the center of the U is a garden. where some people are doing a little gardening, other people just come to sit and relax. And here is the bike room. There's a nice big bike room in there. It's actually big enough that they hold their council meetings there as well. Okay, so there's the parking space. I just want to show it to you in relation to the side entrance. These are the garages I told you about. And the thing about these garages is they are owned as a separate bundle of stocks by people who got in early, but they can be sold separately. Isn't that a throwback? Actually, let's go around the front. So here's Pine Street. There's the building from the front. It's a mid-century modern masterpiece. And finally, the front entrance. It's a fairly new intercom system. It was put in a few years ago. Here's the lobby. Now you've already been here. There's the mail. Down there's the hallway into the boiler room. And here, remember, you have your own in-suite laundry, but on those days when you have several loads, you also have use of the free communal laundry. And that's here. These are some of those concrete walls that are always impressing the property inspectors. On the back wall there, they're very, very thick. And this is where the storage unit is. These are the old school storage units. They're quite enormous. Lots of room for whatever you have that you want to store. Okay. So let me have a look and see if I can see any more questions. Okay. So that pretty much concludes today's open house. I will sit here in the lobby and take any questions you might have. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see me. There we go. Oh, hello, Elise. Okay, so no one have any more questions, like particularly about co-op? I should let you know that there are two banks that do mortgages on co-ops. One of them is Van City, and the other one is Canada Western Bank. And one thing to know, although there is no property transfer tax, you do have to pay an extra lawyer's fee because there are 3 lawyers involved. The lawyer for the buyer, the lawyer for the seller, and the lawyer for the building. So that's a small extra expense, but is way more than offset by the fact that you don't have to pay property transfer tax. Okay, I think if there are no further questions, I will conclude. So thank you so much for attending. Remember, it's 2776 Pine Street. apartment 205. You can look for it online. You can take the Matterport tour, which allows you to click on the floor and move through the unit just as if you were walking through it with me. And call me with any questions. My number is 778-232-0808. And my name again is Reed Hortie with RE/MAX Crest. So thank you very much for attending, and I will be signing off now. Thanks for coming.